Hi there, YouTube. This is welcome to another video. Today's topic is going to be we're going to be looking at a integration with Zendesk from TymeShift. TymeShift, for those of you who don't know, is a tool to manage your workforce. So workforce management, and I'm here today with Maya, and she's going to be conducting the demo. So yeah, let's fire away, Maya.
Fantastic. Thanks for the intro, Dominic. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen first.
Okay, cool. So just for the record, I'm going to be asking questions. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. Ask away.
Okay, cool.
Okay, can you see my screen?
I can, yes.
Fantastic. Okay, so essentially how we like to start with workforce management in our tool is work streams. And work streams can be found in this section here under organization structure. First, what we want to do, because TymeShift integrates seamlessly with Zendesk, right? So it's going to be pulling in all the data from Zendesk. So what we want to be able to mirror is what's happening in Zendesk. And how to do that is to create your work streams, which is a way to segment the inbound volume that's coming in via the various channels, right? It could be tickets, chat, voice, could be WhatsApp, could be however the organization's setup is. That's how we want to create those work streams. So we have.
Sorry to interrupt. One quick question. So when you say work streams, I see in my mind, right, as thinking about how Zendesk works, is you obviously have channels, right, which is voice, chat. But then I see workflows. This seems like, for example, escalations or a group, maybe tier 1, tier 2. Right?
Yeah, so you can go super granular with this. So you can go via exactly what you said, escalated tickets. You can go by billing tickets, even like speakers, French speakers, Dutch speakers, however your Zendesk is segmented. So similar to Zendesk views, I believe. You have it, however that is segmented, you're going to want to mirror that in work streams.
Okay, thank you.
Right. So if you want to go create a work stream, I'll quickly show you. You go ahead here, add a work stream, you give it a name, description if you like. Just do a test here. And then you add the conditions that apply to that work stream. So say we're going to create a work stream just for tickets. You have here the other options below. The via types will be pulled in automatically. And then we have, for example, if we want to make a work stream just for a group within Zendesk, segmented by group, sorry. You do group is, and then here will be all your Zendesk groups pulled in automatically. So these are part of this demo account, right? But they will be different per organization. So then let's say we want to create one that is just the tickets coming in through support. You've then created a legitimate work stream, but we can test that by previewing the match. So here will be, if this says 0 match, you've not made a legitimate work stream, and you'll just have to do some more testing. This
number reflects number of tickets, right?
Yes, in the last 30 days. So you can correlate that with your Zendesk account and see if that number matches.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Then I'm just going to move you there. Then you're going to hit apply, and then you're going to assign those users that need to be in that work stream. So that will be in the support team in this case, because that's the user group that we've created, or the work stream that we've created. You can add them one by one. You can add them all together. You can add them by a group, work stream, team, etc.
So what is the difference between group and team?
So the groups are the Zendesk groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about teams?
And the teams you can create in TymeShift.
Okay, I see. Good.
Yeah.
I see. And here, just a note, usually this applies to teams around maybe 20 and larger, or 25 and larger admins, right? Or users in this case.
Yeah, ideally, I would say the sweet spot for TymeShift to make sense is 20, 25 support agents or more.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Fantastic. So then you create apply, and once you hit add, the work stream will appear here. Since we have a couple here already populated, I'm not going to save that one, but we have here a few. Once you've created your work stream, so we can here see the type of work stream, users, etc., the conditions, we can then already start seeing in about, give it maybe 30, 40 minutes, you can then start seeing data in forecast. And why is that important? So forecast lives here. And I will hop now to the tab that I have open. You're still able to see my forecast now, right?
Yeah, I can see it, yeah.
Fantastic. So we see here the workstream that we've created. And what will start pulling in is the inbound volume. So how much work is predicted in the next, as we can see here, day, week, month, or even up to a year in advance. Below is the required staffing, aka how many people we're going to need to cover that inbound volume. We can also see this data in a table format if we want, or export this data as well. Now, why is this important, you might say? It's important in a support team or in a contact center to understand how much volume of work is going to be coming in and how much people you're going to need so that you're not over or understaffed. This is usually what's really important also for hiring purposes, etc. You don't want too many people available, but you also don't want to be understaffed, right? So the phones is going to be going. That also reflects then to your support agents. They become less happy, aka your customers become less happy. So it all connects that way.
Mm-hmm.
And with our forecast, we're then able to see and predict what the inbound volume is going to be like, and especially important on months, for example, Black Friday or the Christmas months or any kind of seasonality, that can really help, especially e-commerce and retail companies understand, okay, this is where the spikes are. We're going to need X amount of people more for this specific interval.
So I have a question. So this relies, the forecasting relies on past data, right? So in this case, relies on the data for the past 30 days. But can I go deeper in the sense that I could, because you've mentioned seasonality, right? So there's e-commerce usually relies on, for example, seasonality, which let's say there's Black Friday, there's Christmas, which most of the customers that I interact with have had this need. So can I add, for example, historical data from last year, for example? So for example, the forecasting can take that into account. For example, August would be a slow month, let's say, and then it's rising up to Black Friday and then dropping for a bit and then rising again for Christmas.
Yeah. So wait, are you asking if you can import
Yes.
data?
Not import, but use, let's say, more data from
up to like the sweet spot of the amount of data that is our sweet spot essentially is 1 to 2 years of Zendesk data.
Nice. Okay, good. Perfect. Thank you. That answers my question.
Fantastic. All right. Any kind of adjustments that you want to make to your forecast, you can do that here. So these volume adjustments will be made for the inbound volume. So for example, if you, for example, have a marketing campaign or you want to push a certain product, and you know that the volume of calls and people reaching out is going to be more per channel or per workstream, I should say, that's where you can add in, for example, a percentage change. So in this period of time, we expect, 50% is a lot, but let's say 20% more calls. And you could just go, or we expect in this tier that there's going to be 20% more calls. The forecast will then update in real time. So any changes or any adjustments that you make to either the inbound volume or the FTE count parameters, so this will all be unique per organization, right, in workforce management.
FTE is what exactly?
Full-time equivalent count. So how much staff is needed, and then you have the certain metrics that are related to required staffing.
I see. I was just reading an article, I think 2 days ago, about ideal occupancy rate, and if you go over 85%, or actually over 90%, you potentially burn out your staff because they become frustrated. They don't have time to recuperate, to regroup a little bit between calls. Yeah, especially between calls, actually. Yeah, that's it takes a lot out of a person as energy.
Absolutely, and I think we start to forget how many channels agents are dealing with today. It's not the phones. Back in the day, it was the phones. Then it was phones and email. Now it's phone, email, messaging, chat, social. They are on a ton of channels at the same time, So
agreed.
we have to be mindful of the fact that that occupancy rate, if back in the day was 90 to 95% was doable, now it's going to be dropping to 75, 80 to be more, we have to be a little bit more flexible with our support team.
Sure, yeah. A happy team equals happier clients as well, because that energy gets transmitted across, as I've come to to see.
Exactly.
The data shows. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Any further questions before we move on?
Yes. So so these are my work streams, and this is how I see for example, inbound volume, and the graph reflects potentially the spikes during the day, and I see it's quieting down during the weekend, which makes sense. No, so I'm good for now. I'm good for now.
Fantastic. And here you'll be able to see, for example, if you want to go for a month, it's going to show per month. Sorry, my internet is a little bit slow.
No
it should show data, should show there, but maybe the day view is better. Ugh, my internet.
It takes a little bit to load, I imagine.
Yeah. I'm going to take a screenshot either way. Okay. Back to the week view. Okay.
Yeah, this is fine. I get the general idea, so all good.
Fantastic. Then another important thing in workforce management, besides the forecasting and understanding how much work is due to come in and how much people you're going to need or how much staff you're going to need to cover that work, is scheduling. And we find that a lot of folks are scheduling still by spreadsheets, and we want to make a difference there. We want to take that kind of time-consuming task away. And therefore, we have the auto schedule. So the auto schedule can be found there. And auto schedule kind of says it already, automated schedule, right? This is what it would eventually look like. Now, to get here, yeah, it's pretty neat, huh? I'm going to move you here again. To get here, however, we need to set a couple of parameters. And so we're going to head back to, let's head back to organization structure. And we're going to head to locations. Now, locations will be something that is, again, unique to that organization, right? Where are they located? What time zone are they located in? What are their operational hours? Because these are all things that the auto schedule kind of has to adhere to before it can generate a suggested schedule. So you're going to set these parameters. Then the auto schedule will generate a schedule based on the parameters that you've set. Does that make sense?
It does, yes. I have a question, but I'd like to maybe allow you to finish.
Continue. Sure. So yeah, here we have the general kind of requirements, shift requirements. So these will also be completely dependent on, Germany will have different rules here than the Netherlands, than the Philippines, than the US. So number of working hours per week, what is like the legal requirement or the legal minimum and maximum? And you can set that all here. Again, the auto schedule will then stick to that.
So, okay, so quick question here, where I see, for example, number of working hours per week, it's 20 hours, 45 minutes. Is that just as a demo, or you can set it to 40 or?
These are hours, by the way.
And the 20 is?
Working hours.
20 hours and 45 minutes?
So agents will be scheduled minimum 20 hours and no more than 45.
Gotcha.
That's how you have to see this. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
So again, these are all default options, right? But it will be different with every organization. So it's just something that either the manager, workforce manager will know these details. And then once it's set, it usually never changes, right? You just leave that as it is.
I understand. So how about, for example, would I have to, as a team leader, as a customer service manager, would I have to come in here and create my schedule? Would this coincide with what I have to create in Zendesk, or is it already synced with the scheduling in Zendesk?
No, this is something that you'd have to manually add in.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
These general requirements will have to be added because this is something that is separate to Zendesk.
Okay.
It will, yeah.
Understood.
All right, then we head over to the shifts. Essentially, what you're going to do in shifts is you're going to add in all the activities that can take place during a shift that the schedule has to be aware of. So these are oftentimes the activities, the non-support related activities, right? So meetings, lunch breaks, training sessions, etc. Because why? If you don't put in a lunch in a certain shift and add those users there, the auto schedule might add those users in and not give them a lunch break. So you want to just add those critical, what's it called? Critical, non-related, non-support related activities, or we also call them general tasks, or in the industry, they like to call them aux codes as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see. So a lunch break is an example, and you mentioned also team meetings or I don't remember, or trainings, right?
Trainings, etc. Yeah.
And this is also regarded as a break within the schedule, or like it shouldn't be counted.
For the schedule, it will be seen as a break, but you can in TymeShift let the system know if it's a paid break or an unpaid break.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So depending on, again, per organization, how they set those things up, we can differentiate that on another feature.
Mm-hmm. Okay, understood.
So you have two types of shifts in the auto schedule, the automatic shift and the fixed shift. The only difference between the two is in an automatic, if you select automatic shift, the auto schedule will not take into account the start and the end time of the shift. So it's more flexible. With the fixed shift, the auto schedule will adhere to the start and the end time. So we find that in most cases, most of our customers are using the fixed shift because in most supports teams, there is a 9 to 9 or an 8 to 8, or like there is a fixed kind of start and end time to days. But we have a couple that are a little bit more flexible that use automatic shift.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll just show you now the most common one. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and add something in. So I'll have here, I've done some tests before, you can see. So let's say the shift starts at 8 a.m. Let's do simple 8-hour shift. And let's have it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And here's where you're going to add those non-support related activities, also known as intraday management, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These are all fully customizable, right? So this is just because it's a demo account, these are the examples that you have, but you can add, for example, your lunch here. When can the lunch occur? It can occur, let's say, 2 hours after the start, between 2 hours and 4 hours after the start of the shift. And how long can it be? Let's say an hour. Save it. And then it's there. You can then go ahead and add the users that apply to this lunch break, that are allowed to have this lunch break. All the auto schedule will then do is, once we hop back here, this would then obviously be empty, right? You go ahead, generate, and it's going to generate a suggested schedule. Okay. Based on the users that you've made the work streams that you've made already, right? So these are all the work streams, again, that have come back, right? The tier 1s, the tier 2s, etc. So the first foundation, essentially, of working with TymeShift is setting up your work streams correctly. Then you can work, then everything will what's it called? Everything will flow automatically from there.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, that makes sense so far.
This schedule you can then edit as well. You can export it as well. You can also import data. So import your own schedule into our schedule. That's one of our newest features, which we're super stoked about. And here, essentially below, I'm going to move you again here. And here below, we have the coverage. So scheduled staffing versus required staffing. And they've changed this to net staffing.
Which
this
means what exactly?
Scheduled versus forecasted. So how many people you're actually overstaffed within a certain interval, over or understaffed, I should say. So the dark greener it goes, the more overstaffed you are. And when it starts to show pink, red, etc., the more understaffed you are. So you can see exactly over the course of the day, hey, I have way too many people in this specific interval in the specific work stream. Let me replace that. Let me put them in a different channel, for example. Right?
Understood. Okay.
Yeah. Or you can even add time off, etc. And you could do all these other edits within the schedule.
Yeah, this is very neat. I very much like this Gantt type of display.
Yeah.
Of schedules. And so, well, I do have one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Regarding for example, I do understand the principle of darker green meaning that we are overstaffed, and leaning towards red, and the redder it is, understaffed. But for example, what is, for example, 17.5? What are the numbers reflecting exactly? Are this the number of tickets, or is this
staff?
Staff. Aha, people.
Yeah.
Okay.
People. Yes.
Aha. Okay, I see. So
this is net staffing. Yeah.
So for example, in this case, at 2:30 p.m., I have 17.5 more people
than
we need for this time interval. Wow. Okay.
Exactly.
Cool. I see.
Exactly. Yeah. Hopefully, in most cases, in most organizations, the numbers won't be that high. It'll be more like 2 3s overstaffed or 2 3s understaffed. But as you know, this is a demo account, so we're doing testing in this.
Very good that you've clarified, because otherwise I would have thought they were tickets, and I'm very happy that I asked as well.
Yeah, for sure. We're running a little bit over, I believe. Are you good for time, Dominic? I just want to check with you.
Yes, I think so. I have my next meeting is in I think 32 minutes, but let me just quickly check. Yeah, I'm good for time, so we can
Fantastic.
take 10-15 more minutes.
Great. All righty. So I will, before heading, I want to show you what the agent experience looks like as well, but let me leave that to the last bit. I will also show you now the last 2 bits that are interesting from a manager's perspective. And that is agent performance. So we have agent performance here. Essentially, this is a dashboard of a live dashboard where we're able to see what an agent is working on, how much time they're spending on it, and the status, etc. So for example, here, Augustina is in the billing work stream, working on a billing ticket. And if you click on this, it'll take you to the ticket number in Zendesk and how much time she spent.
Wow, so this is real time?
Yep, this is in real time. This is one of our newest features as well.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but how about if the agent has 5 tickets open at the same time? Which one would you know to show here, for example?
Great question. It is whatever the ticket they are in that moment, that is the one that will be reflected here.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, I really like this.
Yeah, it's really, really awesome. And this is something just to keep open during the course of the day, right? For managers to see, okay, they've spent 15 minutes on one ticket. Maybe I should see if they need any help, or maybe they're stuck.
Okay.
If folks are using Zendesk Talk, this is where the talk status will appear. So I don't know if you have many clients using Zendesk Talk, but we're able to pull that data as well.
Yeah, quite many use Zendesk Talk as well. Yeah.
Fantastic. Not much to it here, right? You can filter based on a name, again, team, location, all agents by individual as well. Yeah, do you have any further questions regarding this dashboard?
So one, not about this dashboard, and I'm wondering if this is relevant, but maybe you tell me if it is. Because obviously I'm going to want also to look at the juicy side for me at least, because I'm a Zendesk geek, and how that looks like in Zendesk. So I'm not going to ask any questions in that direction maybe until we get to that side maybe.
Mhm.
Do you think that's okay?
Sure. No
Okay, so
problem.
let's just leave it to when we get there, because there is one very obvious question. Like, as an agent, I have an emergency. I want to put myself. I need to take a break. I need to take, I need 15 minutes. I need an hour. My house is on fire. I'm on vacation, obviously, which is something. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
I will show you one more thing, and then we'll hop back to what this looks like on an agent's perspective, and I think that will answer at least some of those questions.
Thank you.
Okay, then finally, from the manager's perspective, we have agent attendance, can be found here. And here, essentially, this collects all the data of what has happened over the course of the day, in the form of, the time scheduled, when they actually logged in, any other like unpaid break, lateness, overtime, etc., and it will capture the actual occupancy as well. Essentially, this is agent attendance, right? So you can see over the course of the day, this can help for payroll purposes as well, because we have that connection there. We can see overtime as well, and this dashboard is updated as soon as the day is over, right? Seems pretty straightforward. I don't know if there's any.
It does, and it's
questions here.
Very neat.
Yeah, very neat to have.
Yeah, as a manager, it's actually this is a great addition to.
Yeah.
This rings a bell to people asking for something similar in Zendesk. Obviously, this is an agent's. I wouldn't call it a nightmare, but it's the managers would be very, very happy to have this.
Yeah, I think it's important to kind of reflect like how, like, yes, this can be tough on agents, but it's more how managers communicate it, and how they treat their staff. Yeah, I think it can be very, if you empower your agents, if they've done 2 hours of overtime and you celebrate that and not just leave it as a given, for example, then I think, this could really benefit. But it is true that you want to be mindful of the power of this kind of data.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, it all depends on the company culture, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So of course, again, happy employees equal happy results.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we are seeing that there is a movement in change on that front, as opposed to 10 years ago, for example. So yeah, we're hoping that, of course, this tool will empower agents as well. Okay, let's hop back to Zendesk, because I'd like to show you the automatic tracking next, and then, or how we automatically track, and then what an agent schedule would look like. So let's hop here. You're all very familiar probably with this view, right?
Yes,
Zendesk homepage.
definitely.
So, for example, TymeShift, once it's been downloaded from the Zendesk marketplace, it will live here and here. Here is where we can visualize more how the automatic tracking works. So, for example, an agent is working on a ticket, right? And the automatic tracking will start for this ticket.
Do I see it as an agent? Do I see it as an agent? You
don't have to. I'm just showing it for you for demo purposes, but it doesn't have to be that way. Yeah.
Okay.
And I can totally understand why.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's now tracking for this ticket, right? Then we can change the status if, say, we solve it. It would then flip to untracked time. And untracked time is not necessarily bad time. It's just unproductive, or they're in an idle state. We always say and this goes back to what we talked about a little bit earlier, that an agent cannot have an occupancy rate of 95 to 100%. It's, I mean, humanly probably impossible.
Yes.
But untracked time, something like 15, 20% is normal, because they will be browsing through their other tabs. They might go to SoundCloud or YouTube to, watch some videos or music. They might browse through the tickets. If they have, 20%, 20, even 25% untracked time, we still wouldn't say this is bad time. It's just that they're not working in a support related activity, and they're also not logged into an aux code, or how we say general task.
Okay, understood. Yeah, there's also well, it's not an exception, but it's actually the rule, it still is. Whereas as a company, right, you don't just work in one tool, you work in many. You have your project management tool, you have your bug tracking or development tool, you have your, as I said, project management, you have your finance tool, you have your backend, for example, which would be relevant to an agent. Where I would log into my e-commerce store or backend data where I see customer data. So that is definitely something which makes sense to keep in mind as well.
Yeah. So we mentioned, how we track support related activities, all via Zendesk. Then now untracked time. The other third factor is setting up your general task or aux codes. So such as breaks, lunch, meetings. This is the only manual task that the agent has to let the system know. So, for example, if they want to go for lunch, they're going to log in that they are gone for lunch. The system will then understand they've gone 30 minutes, 1 hour, however long, to lunch. If there is an emergency, for example, what I would do personally, but then it'll depend per organizations, I would create a general task that involves emergency or something, so that if they do need to leave immediately, they can put that in here to let the system know, so that when we capture this data in agent activity, which is here, this dashboard, the managers can see, okay, they're off the phones because it was an emergency. And it will capture this. Of course, I imagine that they would also have some sort of, maybe not Slack, but they probably have a chat or some sort of email contact with their managers to make sure that that's approved. I don't know if they would fully just rely on TymeShift for that, but theoretically, it's possible.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, every company works different, right? So there probably has to be a level of training to how to use TymeShift and how to justify, for example, an emergency, an email, a phone call, a Slack message, Teams, etc. Okay.
Yeah. But these are, again, fully customizable, right? So per organization, they will look different. Then the last bit that I want to show you is the agent schedule. So that lives here.
Nice.
Yeah. Schedule here. If they want to, for example, take any time off, they hit a, oh no, I have to actually, oops. Select a shift. Oh, it's because I don't have any. Oops. Oh, there we go. All right, so you go ahead and, as I said, this is a demo account, Room on Fire. I hope that's not part of your time off requests, normally speaking, but let's go for doctor appointment. Set the start time. Yeah, let's do, why not 8 hours? Okay, the whole day. Doc up, request time
So
off.
this is only for today, or can I schedule it in the future? I know I have a doctor's appointment in, I don't know, Friday, for example. I can do that, right?
You can schedule, I believe, I'll double check that, but I think you could see the schedule up to a week in advance.
Because, for example, you're obviously aware, and I'm wondering what the workaround is. I know I'm going to have time off in, let's say, the end of September. I would like to log that time so the forecasting can take into account, Dominic is going to be away for 2 weeks at the end of September, beginning of October. And yeah, Timothy is going to take over, for example.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how you handle this.
Yeah, I think it depends on how far we have the schedule. So you're already scheduled to work a month in advance, right?
Yes. Okay.
I'm just trying to think. It was either a week or a month in advance, so I will have to double check that with product because they were working on that a couple months ago. In the past, it was you can schedule up to a week in advance, or the managers will be able to schedule up to a week in advance. Therefore, there would only be an option to see the schedule a week in advance, right? If they've only scheduled up until then. I believe that's now been pushed to a month. But let me double check that for you.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, essentially,
If that is the
vacation time,
case,
holiday time.
essentially, if that is a possibility, it all depends on how far the agent is scheduled to work up until. If that is a month in advance, then they should be able to take that time off in advance as well.
So the number one thing that I hear in terms of workforce management, I think everyone that has asked for workforce management has begun with this question. How do we handle holidays, time off for agents? Which is obviously very common, and everyone is doing it, right? So not everyone, but everyone has to have time off, at least in Europe. So
yes.
Yeah, this is I'm being completely honest and open to what the question is, like for the feel of the people who actually use Zendesk.
And then if you could, like, in your experience, how far in advance do they want to be able to take time off? Like even a year in advance?
No.
Or are we talking like 1 month is enough? Like, just so that I kind of understand in your
I'm thinking that, for example, if this is just me applying some common sense, which obviously doesn't apply to every example, but I'd imagine that if you could do it 6 months in advance, I'm planning a trip to Spain in December or whenever, for example, in January. I'd like to be able to put it in so the forecasting can
take that into account.
Take that into account, yeah.
Yeah. I believe we can do this in a month in advance, but I just want to double check because we just launched our new product and I have to understand a little bit what is now done and what is still being worked on.
Okay.
All right. Then, so any further questions regarding the agent schedule?
So this is me. This is the interface that I would see as an agent, right? So this is not an admin's experience. This is an agent experience. So no, everything seems okay. So for example, if I have pending requests, what does that mean if I go?
It means that this is a request that I put in, but it still needs to be approved by my manager.
Oh, nice.
So they will get a notification, the manager, in the time off. There's a time off feature as well. And then they can see from the time off section. I can just flip through there now. Time off management. That it's there, right? And I need to then approve or deny or react with a comment.
Okay, cool. Nice.
And then it will obviously update here if it's been approved time off, etc.
Okay, no further questions here.
Okay, another little fun fact is that we also integrate now with Google Calendar. So if the agent, if they're using Google Suite or that platform at all, they will be able to see their schedule on their phones, for example, because obviously a lot of agents don't take Zendesk back home on their phones, right? They come to work and they're working in Zendesk, but they don't have Zendesk themselves. So now we offer this to sync with Google Calendar, so they're able to see from their phones what their schedule for the day is going to look like.
Okay. I see.
All right. I think that is it. We've run a little bit over. I just want to give you a little, I want to give everyone a view of what it would look like to install TymeShift, right? On the Zendesk Marketplace. You can find us here. Any additional information, install via this way. Integration is about 2-3 minutes, super seamless and quick. No fancy business. So we like to keep this as easy as possible for everyone.
Okay, so if you don't mind scrolling a little bit lower, I'd like to see something. It's free. Nice.
So what, the trial?
Yeah, so the trial. So you install it, I imagine, but then you'd have to obviously have a paid account with TradeShift. Sorry, with TymeShift. Apologies, with TymeShift, and then the integration would be wouldn't come at an additional cost, correct?
No, during your trial period, no. This is for a 10-day trial period. If they need more time, because we understand it's quite a robust tool, we can be flexible with the trial period as well, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Doesn't have to be hard and fast 10 days.
I'm just referring to the cost of the integration, like this specific app, which reflects the integration between the TymeShift and Zendesk. Okay. Well done and well played.
Yes, it is as seamless and easy as we like. So yeah, have a look here whenever you want. And I think that's it. I think we've wrapped up.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. So thank you for this wonderful presentation. Actually, it was actually quite enlightening to what TymeShift can do. I had no idea of how well and how what features that can empower the day-to-day workload of both agents and managers of team managers. So customer service manager, customer support managers. So yeah, I really like the demo. So I'm very grateful for you doing such a wonderful demo. And so yeah, if you have any questions for me, yeah, happy to address.
No, I'm happy that we did this session, and I'm excited for you to have seen, at least on a visual level, you know, what TymeShift has to offer. And like I said, this is our new product, so we're super excited to show it to the world. Yeah, no, I don't have any further questions as of now, but let's stay in touch.
Yeah, sure. Of course. And I will leave maybe a description in the description of the video. I will leave a contact, for example, to reference to you, maybe, so people can ask if anyone is curious. They can ask further questions.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll talk about this privately. So
over another call.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so thank you for your time, Maya. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for the wonderful demo.
No worries. Enjoy the rest of your week. Ciao, Dominic.